Now at 9, St. Patrick's Day is less than 3 hours away. How the city is preparing for the lucky holiday.
The Senate voted on a bill to repeal the president's authority to use military force in Iraq. What the majority leader had to say.
Developments in 2 investigations on former President Trump. The reaction from his former attorney.
A third bank could be on the verge of a shutdown. How U.S. officials are responding.
Taking a look at those conditions for St. Patrick's Day and the weekend.
Delaware County's only live television newscast from Ball State University's Unified Media Newsroom. You're watching NewsLink Indiana.
Good evening, and thanks for being with us. I'm Grace Pankowski.
And I'm Max Robson.
Tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day, and to celebrate, downtown Muncie is hosting its 30th annual St. Patrick's Day Parade. The parade will begin at 6 p.m. at the Muncie Central Fieldhouse parking lot. It will proceed south on Walnut Street to Charles Street and return via Mulberry Street. Event director Cheryl Crowder says this is a great opportunity to bring the community together and support the ones in the parade.
Lloyd Cardinal will be there. Ivy Tech's Rudy the Roadrunner. Lots of politicians, lots of new businesses, healthcare centers, just a whole wide variety of community.
And we are hoping those skies are clear tomorrow for that parade at 6 p.m. Nice, maybe sunny skies?
Yeah, let's hope the weather can hold off. But Dimitri, what do you have for us?
Yeah, I mean, it was a beautiful day out there today, but things haven't actually cooled off all that much. As we can see, 50 degrees here right now in Muncie with those winds coming out of the south-southwest at 13 degrees. Now, we saw a lot of sun today, but we didn't, around 4:30, 5 o'clock, we saw that rain start to move in, and that's been pretty consistent since then. As we can see, those rains have been in the area since 4:30 and are continuing to do so. Now, we are going to be taking a look at the rains for tonight, as well as a breezy next couple of days, and the St. Patrick's Day and St. Patrick's Day weekend conditions.
Thanks so much, Dimitri. 2 acts that give the president authority to use military force in Iraq could soon be repealed. The Senate voted today to advance a bill repealing 2 Iraq War Power Acts. The 68-27 vote was largely bipartisan. The 1991 and 2002 authorizations gave the president authority to order military action in Iraq without the approval from Congress. They have been using this beyond the original scopes, both by former President Barack Obama and Donald Trump. Here's what Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer had to say.
Repealing this AUMF will in any way not hinder our national defense, nor will it hurt the efforts of our troops deployed overseas. In fact, the repeal is an important step for strengthening our relationship with Iraq.
A final vote on the bill is expected early next week. Now, these types of authorizations have been used in most military conflicts the U.S. has been involved in during the past 80 years.
The White House is supposedly threatening to ban TikTok in the U.S. TikTok acknowledged yesterday the Biden administration wants the app's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, to spin off their share of the social media platform. The app currently has more than 100 million U.S. users, and federal officials are concerned that the Chinese government could pressure TikTok into handing over the users' personal information. TikTok has been trying to negotiate a deal with the Committee on Foreign Investment in the U.S. The deal could allow TikTok to continue operating in the U.S. despite security and privacy concerns. Big developments in 2 different investigations of former President Trump, the election interference probe in Georgia and the Stormy Daniels hush money investigation in New York City.
And it turns out that there's actually another recording of Trump pressuring a Georgia official to help overturn his election loss. This time it's a phone call with the state's Republican House Speaker. And over in New York City, Stormy Daniels met with prosecutors as they near the end of their investigation. CNN's Paula Reed has more.
2 investigations into former President Donald Trump heating up, with possible indictments coming down soon. In New York, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office speaking on Wednesday to 2 key witnesses as part of its investigation into hush money payments made to adult film star Stormy Daniels.
My position is that at the end of the day, Donald Trump needs to be held accountable for his dirty deeds if, in fact, that's the way that the facts play out.
Trump's former fixer and personal attorney, Michael Cohen, concluded a second day of testimony Wednesday. And Daniels' attorney tweeted that she also answered prosecutors' questions and has agreed to make herself available as a witness. The investigation is at a critical juncture after the district attorney's office invited Trump to testify last week. Trump's legal team says he will not testify, and they're proclaiming his innocence, with one of his lawyers making this striking prediction if his client is indicted.
I think it will ultimately embolden his supporters, and give him more strength, because it will be proven to be wrongly accused. But on the other hand, who in their right mind wants to be indicted and charged falsely with a crime? Nobody.
Over in Fulton County, Georgia, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution is reporting the grand jury there heard a recording of a conversation between Trump and the late former Georgia House Speaker, David Ralston. In the recording, Trump is pushing for the Speaker to call a special session to overturn Joe Biden's win in the state. One of the jurors recalled Ralston basically cut the president off, telling Trump, "I will do everything in my power that I think is appropriate." The Atlanta Journal-Constitution spoke with 5 jurors who served on the grand jury investigating Trump's actions in Georgia after the 2020 election. One of those jurors says they were presented testimony about a meeting then-Senator and Trump ally David Perdue had with Republican Governor Brian Kemp in December 2020, where Kemp was also urged to convene a special session to challenge Biden's election win.
And up until this point, few details have been released publicly from the grand jury's report, concluding that there was no election fraud in the state. We do know that indictments were recommended by the grand jury in their full report. The Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis suggested in January that her decision on whether to bring charges is, quote, imminent.
Dozens of Mar-a-Lago staff have been subpoenaed to testify to a federal grand jury investigating former President Trump's handling of classified documents. The former president's communications aide, Margot Martin, appeared before the grand jury in Washington, D.C. today. She worked in the White House and then moved to Florida to continue working for Trump. Sources say some of the staffers' special counsel, Jack Smith, has sought testimony from a housekeeper and restaurant servers. The Justice Department started investigating the potential mishandling of national security records after FBI agents recovered more than 100 classified documents during a search of the estate last summer. The former president's legal team has since turned over additional classified material.
How U.S. officials are working to avoid more bank shutdowns.
And unemployment claims fell again this week. All this and more after the break.
I love you!
Prescription drug pricing points to corporate mountain.
Freedom of the press is about your right to know. It's about your right to be informed. Today, there are real threats to press freedom and your right to know about the world around us. We must protect our right to know, no matter what kind of news is important to you. Before it's too late, understand the threats. ProtectPressFreedom.org.
The central and midwestern U.S. averages more than 850 tornadoes each year. And lately, the number of floods has been rising in the region, too. So chances are, there will be more twisters and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are, you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
After the shutdown of 2 major U.S. banks, U.S. officials are working to reassure Americans and urging calm to avoid other bank runs, as talks are underway to rescue a third bank, First Republic.
This morning, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen went before the Senate Finance Committee answering questions about the health of the nation's financial institutions. Ivan Rodriguez has the latest.
The shutdowns of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank shook investor confidence around the globe. Then Credit Suisse, one of Europe's largest lenders, faltering Wednesday, losing about 30% of its value before agreeing to a nearly $54 billion rescue loan from the Swiss Central Bank.
Everyone
here at home,
I can reassure the members of the committee that our banking system is sound.
Treasury Secretary Yellen on the Hill Thursday, telling the Senate Finance Committee and Americans there's no reason to panic.
This week's actions demonstrate our resolute commitment to ensure that our financial system remains strong and that depositors' savings remain safe.
President Biden also insisting there is no systematic banking risk that could cause a repeat of the 2008 meltdown.
Small businesses across the country, the deposit accounts at these banks can breathe easier knowing they'll be able to pay their workers and pay their bills.
The president says emergency measures that guarantee the deposits of SVB and Signature customers will not use taxpayer dollars. All of this reignites the debate over future rate hikes by the Federal Reserve.
Clearly, they were doing this to try to tamp down inflation, but did they consider the possibility that some institutions may not be able to handle such a rapid increase in rates?
It's critical for us to do what we can to bring inflation down and for the Fed to do its part as well.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
The debate leaves the Biden administration with a tough decision on the economy. If the Fed does decide to hit pause on its rates strategy, inflation could worsen.
Home construction surged last month in the U.S. Housing starts were up nearly 10% in February compared to January. It marks a turnaround after 5 straight months of decline. However, it's still down more than 18% from a year ago. Home construction saw big declines in May and July last year. According to data from Freddie Mac, the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage averaged 6.6% in the week ending March 16th. That's down from 6.73% the week before. But larger-term uncertainty is expected to hamper many home buyers and keep the cost of purchasing high.
First-time claims for unemployment insurance fell again last week. The Department of Labor says claims dropped from 192,000 for the week ending March 11th. That's down 20,000 from the prior week's revised total of 212,000 continuing claims, which are filed by people who have received unemployment benefits for more than 1 week. That dropped for the week ending March 4th. Weekly jobless claims are considered a proxy for layoffs, and the study level continues to show that companies are reluctant to let go of their workers. While the Federal Reserve has been hoping for a softening of the labor market, it continues to prove remarkably resilient.
Now, are these warm temperatures going to stick around for our St. Patrick's Day? Find out on my full forecast right after the break.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's just vapor with flavor.
It won't hurt my kid like cigarettes, right?
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
My kid?
My kid knows it's dangerous.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping, maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Emotes say a lot, but they can't say it all. Think your guildmate is struggling? Try these dialogue options. Go beyond emotes. Check in with your guildmates at seizetheawkward.org.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
and banding together,
we should still make an effort.
We should still make an effort
to get to know each other
on a deeper level. Father,
cosplayer,
mentor,
actor.
It's time we take a step forward
It's time we take a step forward.
Come together
and discover
How accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
Welcome back. I'm weather forecaster Dimitri Gagas, and again, today was very, very beautiful out there with a lot of sun and a high of 61 degrees. Now, things haven't quite cooled off as much as you might expect, as we can see a current temperature of 50 degrees here, 48 degrees there in Indianapolis, and then 48 degrees there in Lafayette. Now, again, lots of sun today, but around 4:30, 5 o'clock, we saw that rain start to move in, and it has continued up until now. As we can see the current radar, widespread showers throughout the night so far. Now that is going to continue into tonight, and that is going to be our theme, is a lot of showers tonight. As we can see, a low temperature of 45 degrees, which is actually quite comfortable. Now we see those winds coming out of the south at 20 to 25 miles per hour with gusts of up to 40 miles per hour. So if you guys have anything out in the yard, make sure to put it in the garage so things aren't flying around the neighborhood and getting in the neighbor's yard. Now, as we look at the precision cast, I want to track out these showers for us as we see Thursday at 10 p.m. Obviously widespread showers. This is going to continue throughout the night, and then by 7 a.m. we are going to see lots of showers still here in Muncie, and then things are going to start to move out of our area by the early afternoon. By Friday around 12 p.m. and then by around 3 p.m. we are just going to have clouds, and eventually those are going to start to move out of our area as well, and things should be pretty beautiful. Now, I do want to talk about those winds as well. Now, we have these winds here in Muncie around 10 o'clock right now, 27 here in Winchester, 25 here in Muncie. And things get a little bit worse as we go on throughout the night there, 31 here in Muncie, and things are going to stick around 25 to 30 miles per hour as we go into the early day tomorrow. And that's going to continue all the way throughout our day going into tomorrow as well. Now, speaking of tomorrow, we did see that low temperature of 45 degrees. Does that mean high temperature, sorry about that. The temperature is going to be high tomorrow. Unfortunately, 45 degrees is going to be our high temperature there at 8 a.m. And we are going to see things at 38 there at 12 p.m. and then going to rise up just a little bit to 39 there at 5 p.m. And again, those winds are going to be a factor. As you can see, 20 to 25 miles per hour with gusts of up to 35 miles per hour at some points tomorrow. So that is going to be a factor. Now, I do finally have some good news, we do have snow chances there on Saturday at 29 degrees. So not a great weekend this weekend for St. Patrick's Day. Warm up just a little bit there on Sunday, but it is going to be a nice day, so that is some good news. But finally, some great news there for our mid-7-day forecast as we see that low temperature there of 29 degrees is going to be the lowest thing on there. And as we go on throughout our week, we are going to see a gradual climb on the temperature. So Monday there for our first day of spring, 45 degrees. And then finally back into the 50s for Tuesday and Wednesday. And by the time we get to Thursday, we might even sneak into the 60s. So things are going to be rather cold for our St. Patrick's Day weekend, but I think we're going to make the best out of it.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. So if you're going outside this weekend, make sure, coats, gloves, scarves. I don't think anything extra would really hurt.
I think, honestly, it's been forever since we've had a snowy St. Patrick's Day, so I'm really looking forward to that part.
Yeah, definitely. And I know you talked a little bit about the wind gusts as well. So
Yes.
If anyone has decorations outside for St. Patrick's Day, make sure that you bring them inside or lock them down, taped
Maybe hold
up.
on to that green top hat and
Oh,
grab
yeah.
the green jackets,
Yeah.
I might have to get rid of the hats because they always be flying off when it's like 25, when the wind's at 25 miles per hour.
Yeah, definitely. And with the parade floats too, of course, if you have a float for tomorrow, or if you know somebody who's going with a hat decor, make sure they hold on to it. Well, thank you so much, Dimitri. We're going to toss it over with sports.
Big updates from the men and women's basketball squads, as well as a local high schools going deep into tournament time. All that and more next in sports.
Here's your sandwich, miss.
Oh, thank you.
And your burger.
Awesome, thank you.
And your bowl of boiling water, sir.
After retiring from the NFL, I've been able to spend a lot more time coaching my daughter's basketball teams. It's something I love to do. Through our games and our tournaments, we see all types of coaching, good and bad. And it begs the question, do we really know who's coaching our kids? Do they have the proper training and screening it would take for me to be comfortable with my daughters playing for that coach? Our Youth Basketball Association made the decision to use trusted coaches to screen and train all of our coaches. I'm a trusted coach. Are you?
So if one cat has 4 kittens who reproduce every 6 months, how many cats will there be in 5 years? Who's got it? Is this... What is that? Seriously? Who threw that?
Cats are terrible at math, but they sure do multiply. Please spay, neuter, and adopt.
The solution is 10. Welcome back to NewsLink Indiana. I'm Bryce Dimsevich with sports. Ball State sophomore Peyton Sparks has entered the transfer portal via his Instagram account. Sparks posted a letter that highlighted his intention to enter the portal. Sparks thanked his parents, head coach Michael Lewis, the university, and his teammates. The sophomore stated that he will look to pursue a team at a higher level of competition within Division I. Sparks played 2 years for the Cardinals and finishes with 829 points, 44 blocks, and a MAC Freshman of the Year award. March Madness is in full swing as millions of brackets have already been busted. The first round of the tournament tips at 12:15 today as Maryland takes down West Virginia. The big upsets of the day come from 13-seed Furman as they knock off 4-seed Virginia, and the stunner 15-seed Princeton takes down 2-seed Arizona. San Diego State, Kansas, and Alabama all take care of business with wins over lower seeds. Multiple games are set to wrap up as we speak. Tune in to Cardinal Weather tomorrow morning for in-depth analysis and a recap of the tournament so far. As the NCAA men's basketball bracket is underway, so too is the WNIT bracket in Worthen Arena as Ball State women's basketball takes on Belmont. NewsLink Indiana's Dylan Selke is live from Worthen Arena to give us an update on the matchup. Dylan, what do you have for us?
Thanks, Bryce. Tonight's game didn't fail to disappoint, with 2 teams knocking down baskets at an incredibly high rate. Ball State going into the matchup was 25-8, and the Bruins were 23-11. 2 teams who shoot the ball really well didn't fail to meet those expectations tonight, knocking down threes from start to finish. The Cardinals shot 16 for 32 from behind the arc, leading to a 101-86 victory, earning a spot in the second round of the WNIT. One girl who was throwing up threes all night was grad student Thelma Dis-Augustdaughter, breaking Ball State's record for 3 points made in a single season with 104. Shooting 6 for 15 from deep with a total of 20 points on the night, she was a big reason the Cardinals ended up on top. Augustdaughter averages 42% from behind the arc, which has led her to solidify her name in Ball State's record books. Other notable performers were sophomore guard Allie Becky and redshirt senior Anna Clefane. 2 anchors of this team didn't fail to impress tonight, as they've done all season long. Ball State will go on to face the winner of Memphis and Jackson State in round 2 of the WNIT, as that game is being played just this moment. From Worthen Arena, Dylan Selke, NewsLink, Indiana.
Thanks, Dylan. Delta boys basketball travels to Elkhart this Saturday for their semi-state championship matchup with John Glenn High School. The Eagles enter into the biggest matchup of their careers with wins in their last 4 games and state championship game hopes on the line. Although the Eagles had their ups and downs during the season, they fly into the match 18-9 on the year after their victory in regional play over Peru last Saturday in a 54-47 final. Delta will look to survive and advance against Glenn with hopes to make it to Gamebridge Fieldhouse for the first time since 2002. Coach Mark Detweiler speaks on the important matchup ahead and the squad's keys to success.
For us, if you're going to survive and advance, you stay in front, you defend. That's kind of been what we do defensively. Our identity is to sit down and stay in front of people, and then to rebound. And if we do that, and then we get good bench play, if we can get those 2 things together, then we feel like we got a shot to get to Saturday night.
The Eagles will look to keep their state championship hopes alive early Saturday with tip-off set for 10 a.m. in Elkhart. Now, NCAA brackets are going on and they are going down right now. Lots of upsets already. How are your guys' brackets faring so far?
Well, the first time I looked at it, it was Virginia immediately getting upset against Furman. I was watching that game live, and it hurt to watch at the end. Having a 4-point lead with only like 12 seconds left, It shows the importance of one key mistake that leads into a full loss for the 4 seed.
Absolutely. How about you, Grace?
So far, I am last in my bracket with my roommates, but I did have one game winner, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll switch topics here. The WNIT happened for Ball State tonight. They got a win against Belmont, and now they're going to have to face the winner between Memphis and Jackson State. How do you think they're going to fare in that matchup and maybe going forward in the WNIT?
I'm really looking forward to watching them keep playing. If Thelma DeSaugustarter can keep knocking down threes at the rate she is, and if Allie Becky and Anna Flane can keep doing what they're doing, it's going to be amazing, and they're going to make a very deep run.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, go ahead.
Definitely going to be looking forward to that, and I hope that those players have the best of luck as they keep going.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bryce. Coming up, we will have a look at our anchor picks.
And Dimitri has a final look at your St. Patty's Day forecast.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you help me?
I got it.
Thank you.
No problem.
Just like the rules to surviving Zombieland, there are steps you can take to be prepared for an emergency.
It's the right thing to do.
Talk with your family to make a plan. Look for safe areas to meet up if separated. And stock up on supplies. It's never too early to get prepared, so start now.
Right now?
Right now. You can't predict emergencies, but you can be ready.
You're welcome, America.
Visit ready.gov today to learn more.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
After 30 years, the American Kennel Club's 2022 registration statistics has declared a new top dog. After a second place spot in 2021, the French Bulldog has surpassed the Labrador as top dog. Small in size and holding a quiet demeanor, these Frenchies are fit for tiny homes and apartments. These cute and compact pups hold the heart of Americans everywhere and look to stay on top.
News for Catholics this St. Patrick's Day. The majority of bishops in the U.S. say it's okay to eat meat on the holiday. In Catholic faith, eating meat is generally not allowed on Fridays during Lent. But the National Catholic Survey says more than 70% of bishops are granting an exception for this Friday because it falls on St. Patrick's Day. So bring on the Irish stew and the corned beef. St. Patrick's Day commemorates the death of the 5th century missionary bishop to Ireland. It always occurs sometime during Lent, but it also falls on a Friday. And hopefully the weather will be looking just right for that Irish stew and the corned beef.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And let's send it over to Dimitri to look at that final St. Patty's forecast.
Yeah, guys, as we look at St. Patrick's Day, 45 is the high, but do remember that is the high in the morning. So that'll be at 8 a.m. and temperatures will continue to fall throughout the day. So do grab your jackets as you're going out the door, but also remember, wear green tomorrow. Now, as we get into Saturday, things are going to be windy. And the high is going to be 29 degrees, and we're going to have snow chances. Now, those chances are going to be throughout the day, going from the morning into the late evening, so do be prepared for snow on Saturday. Things are much nicer there on Sunday as far as the day goes, but the temperature just rises just a bit. As you can see, 36 degrees as a high there. Now, for the first day of Tuesday and Wednesday, we're back in the 50s. On Thursday, we're in the 60s.
Thank you so much, Dimitri. That's all tonight for NewsLink Indiana. Be sure to join us tomorrow morning for our show, Waking Up with Cardinal Weather at 8.
And for news anytime, anywhere, go to ballstatedaily.com. Have a great night.